So I've noticed a pattern that has helped me increase my tips or to help passengers give me more tips while driving for Lyft and Uber. Now, this has worked in Portland and it has worked in Atlanta. And what's crazy is the difference between Portland and Atlanta is that in Portland, people just seem to give you tips no matter what. It was just part of the culture. People gave you tips, but now I kind of know why I was getting those tips to begin with. So when I moved to Atlanta, I realized that no one was really giving tips. And the reason is that people don't have disposable income or as much disposable income as the culture in Portland does. Not to mention, when you look, it's actually a statistical fact that the gap between the poor and the wealthy is the largest in the nation in Atlanta, Georgia. So people just don't have money to give like that out here. But one thing that I have noticed that has helped me increase my tips is very simple. Now, obviously, before I get into that, I want to say that if you're expecting to get tips from any passenger or anyone who's getting in your car, you're obviously going to have a very clean car. You want to make sure that it's vacuumed out, that you don't have like any bottles or bags or anything just kind of rolling around on the floor. Obviously, the just regular dirt that comes from people's feet on your carpet, it's totally fine. You've been driving, it's going to happen. You want to have good music on. Try and have good music on. Me personally, I do a few different channels. I either do the classical station on the radio, or I use my Google Play to do classical. And lately, what I've been doing, which I'm getting a very good response from, is there is a alternative indie music. So I do chill indie music. Very, very good vibe, good energies from that music. And all cultures love it, from, African Americans to whites to Latinos to you name it, right? Because the culture is very diverse out here in Atlanta, and no one has complained. People seem to hum, sing. I've had people ask me, hey man, what is that? What are you playing? I've had dudes from, I'll go pick people up out in Riverdale, some of the hoodest dudes ever, and it'll be some hippie white girl singing, and they'll be like, man, who is this? You know what I'm saying? And people like good music. So have good music, make sure your car is clean, and most importantly, drive well. Drive well. Now, what is this pattern that I've noticed that has helped me increase my tips? Well, it's very simple. Actually, all it is having good conversation with your passengers. And when I mean good conversation, I mean having a good conversation with your passengers from the time they hop in the car to the time they get out. Now, obviously, every passenger isn't going to want to talk. You can't force people to talk. And you definitely don't want to be the person who's doing all the talking when someone doesn't want to hear your voice. But when you do get people in your car who seem like they want to talk and they are communicating with you, continue to communicate with them. Sometimes it might be a little bit of silence. Pick it back up. Go right back in the conversation. Ask them questions about themselves, what they got going on, where they're from, what type of food they like, what type of adventures they've been on, and then tell them about yourself. And what I've noticed is that every time I have a good conversation with a passenger and I look back, they are always the ones who tip me. They are always the ones who give me a tip no matter what. Now, obviously, it's like an upsell, basically. Not every single person is going to give you a tip for whatever reason, right? They might not even have the money. But you obviously want to try and have good conversations with people to increase the chances of getting a tip. And if you can do that, then you should be perfectly fine. Now, that's basically it. I can't tell you how to have a conversation with someone, but if you feel like you're not good at having conversations with people, what better job than this to work on those communication skills of talking to people, of building rapport, of sharing information about yourself. You can do that with this job. So I would suggest that you start doing it. Another little tip, and this is something that I kind of stumbled upon as well. I used to, I still actually do it, but a lot of times I used to make the wrong turns. I would make the wrong turns and, start going the wrong way or something with the passenger in the car, miss a turn, things like that. And obviously, when you miss a turn, it adds more time to the ride. Sometimes it can add more mileage to the passenger's trip. And one thing that I've noticed is that what I do sometimes, just to, just as complimentary of who I am and things that I like to do, is if we're not too far away from the actual destination, maybe 3 miles or less, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and actually end the trip. I'll end the trip and cut off my app, and I'll tell the passenger, hey, super sorry, made the wrong turn. I just ended the trip. You can go ahead and check your phone. And when I say this, and you'll sometimes even hear the passenger's phone go off once you end the trip on them, they'll be like, oh, did you end the trip? You didn't have to do that. Thanks, man. We'll go ahead and leave you a tip. And most of the times, even when they don't say that, I go back and look and they leave me a tip. Now you might be saying, well, it doesn't matter, right? Because you ended the trip. And I thought about it too, but what's cool about it is that, think about it like this. If I end the trip at 3 miles, that might have been $3 that I was going to make, right? Assuming you make $1 per mile. Now in Atlanta, we only make like 65 cents per mile. So that would have only been like, I don't know, $1 and like 95 cents or something like that, right? That'd be like $1.95. Now, when someone goes back and let's just say all they give me is a $2 tip, right? Out of that $1.95, I still gotta pay the 25%. I still gotta pay the 25%. But when they give me the $2 tip, they don't take a percentage out of your tip. So basically, I'm getting that full $2, whereas that $1.95 that extra $1.95 that would have been added to the fare, it still gets taxed on the percentage that Lyft or Uber is taking out. So overall, you're still coming out ahead in the end game because you're getting all that money. Now, like I said, I don't do this all the time. I just do it whenever it's convenient because I've made a mistake and I'm pretty close by. And I only do it if I'm having a good conversation with the passenger. If I'm not talking to the passenger, if they're just kind of sitting in the back doing their thing, hell, I won't even say nothing. I'll just keep driving. I'll take the hit if they notice. They'll give me a bad rating or whatever. It doesn't matter. But if I'm in the middle of having a good conversation with the person, or any type of conversation, I'll be like, yo, I made a wrong turn. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thing off right here. They'll be like, oh, cool, So that's just something that's just like another pattern that I've noticed. But obviously, the most important thing is have great conversations with your customers, and you will start to see your tips increase. I've definitely noticed it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Till next time. Peace.